Few weeks of Nkechi's marriage to Chukwuma, she started demanding for high-quality wrappers and shoes, just like the ones Nneka's husband had bought for her. And whenever Chukwuma tries to advise her to cut down her demands, she would always pick offense and taking advantage of the love Chukwuma has for her, as that was the only way to make Chukwuma succumb to her and grant her wish. And so, her excess demands went on, and within few months, Chukwuma became a debtor as his business began to face loss. Once upon a time, there lived two sisters named Nkechi and Nneka. Nkechi was the eldest, while Nneka was the youngest. Both sisters were very beautiful, tall and attractive. But the only problem was that Nneka gets more attention from men than her sister Nkechi. Nneka was very social and friendly. She smiles all the time and never gets angry no matter the harsh words being said to her. Unlike Nkechi, who never likes associating with others, let alone smiling, and would always find reasons to yell at anyone at the slightest mistake. Nneka tried talking to her so many times to mend her ways. Instead of listening to her, she would stop talking to her throughout the week. Nkechi was the type of woman who never heeded to anyone's advice. Instead, she would distance herself from them. And soon, she became the topic of the village. It got to a point that whenever she's coming or passes, people would always identify her as introvert. Nkechi was very rude and would always speak badly to people. Almost everyone in the village now know her as Nkechi, the woman with dirty character, while some tagged her as beauty without character. Her friends sees her as a bad influence and stopped associating with her in order not to influence them with her dirty, unpleasant character. And within a short time, the news of her rude and unpleasant character spread round the village. Few months later, a man called Chukwuma picked interest in Nkechi. When the villagers knew about it, they told Chukwuma every of Nkechi's bad side without leaving any stone uncovered. They told him so many terrible things about Nkechi, but Chukwuma never believed them. One afternoon, Chukwuma went to his favorite spot to drink with his friends when Nkechi became the topic of the day. Chukwuma, my friend, I heard you'll be getting married to beauty without character. Afam, one of Chukwuma's friends, said. Who are you talking about and who are you referring to as beauty without character? Chukwuma asked. Who else if not for Nkechi? Or are you deaf and blind in love that you don't see her true nature? Nonso said. Nkechi is a breaking news in this village. She's not a well-mannered woman. Ugo added. What are you guys even saying? Go straight to the point, Chukwuma said. All we are saying is that Nkechi is a mannerless woman, and I won't advise you to marry her because her dirty character alone will send you to your early grave. Listen, my friends. I love Nkechi and she's everything to me, and I will marry her no matter what you people say. We wish you good luck, but don't say we did not warn you. Afam said, it is better to marry a woman that doesn't know how to cook, but has a good character, than to marry a beautiful nonsense. At least you can cope with the woman that can't cook, but a woman with zero character is a total no, and trying to cope with her is like spending a night with the devil. You will never be comfortable, my friend. Ugo said, I love her, and I believe with time she will change. Love is not enough, my guy. Love is not the only thing that keeps marriage alive. The earlier you know this, the better for you. Don't say Nonso did not warn you. Chukuma, don't say Nonso did not warn you. They tried convincing Chukuma, but he remained adamant and paid deaf ears to their warnings. Nkechi finally accepted Chukuma's proposal in order to shut the mouth of the villagers. Chukuma was a petty trader in one of the biggest markets and was doing well. He made sure to provide every of Nkechi's needs, and she never lacked anything. 3 weeks after Nkechi's marriage to Chukuma, Nneka also got married to Ikechukwu, who was the wealthiest trader in the market. Ikechukwu would make sure that Nneka never lacks anything, as he would always buy her expensive wrappers, dress and shoes even without asking for it. Nneka sees it as a waste of money, but her husband never stopped buying them for her. Nkechi and Nneka's husbands happens to be close neighbors in Ozigolo market, as their shops were opposite each other. Being neighbors and also in-laws made them more closer. Few weeks of Nkechi's marriage to Chukuma, she started demanding for high-quality wrappers and shoes, just like the ones Nneka's husband had bought for her. And whenever Chukuma tries to advise her to cut down her demands, she would always pick offense and taking advantage of the love Chukuma has for her, as that was the only way to make Chukuma succumb to her and grant her wish. And so, her excess demands went on, and within few months, Chukuma became a debtor as his business began to face loss. One afternoon, Nneka was heading to the market to spend some time with her husband and as well help him out with the sales, when Nkechi caught sight of her. "Ah, Nne, my sister, you are looking very beautiful in this dress, oh, just like Folukom." "Thank you, my sister, thank you. I know your husband bought it for you. Your husband likes good things, shao. Hey, my sister, please, do you know how much he bought it?" "Nkechi, my sister, this dress is very expensive, oh, I won't lie you." You don't mean it? My dear, this dress is worth 70,000. Ha! I got angry when my husband told me that he bought it at the rate of 70,000. Can you imagine? You don't need to get angry, you deserve it. Your husband is rich, and he should be buying more of this for you. My dear, 70,000 is too much for someone to spend on one dress. Things are hard these days, you know. Did your husband complain? He bought the dress for you because he has the money, and he's not complaining. While he makes the money, you do the spending. My dear, don't pity him, oh. Sister Nkechi, you will never change. Ha, Nne, you are very lucky. I must say, you are very, very lucky to have a husband like Ikechukwu, who is really spending on you. Unlike my husband, who complains about his business each time I ask him for money. Nkechi, my sister, please take it easy on him, oh. At least, he is trying now, and his handwork is written all over you. Try and care, my dear. He complains a lot. Anytime I mention money, the next thing is, business is bad, though. Business is not good at all. Business this, business that. Me, I'm tired, though. I'm tired. At least he's still trying his best to make you smile. All you need to do is support him and pray for him, and all will be well again, okay? I must say, you are very lucky, Nne. I wish my husband is rich like your husband. Anyways, let me not waste much of your time, and I know your rich husband would be waiting for you at the shop. Okay, now let me be going. See you soon. Bye-bye, yo. 70,000 for one dress. And all Chukuma knows how to do is to complain all the time. Look at what his fellow man is buying for his wife without complaining. 70,000. Nkechi. Itala fofoncha. Nkechi rialo ya. Ha! Nneka of yesterday is wearing a dress worth 70,000 that her husband bought for her. And I'm here wearing these rags called dress. Chukuma, either you like it or not, you must give me 70,000 to buy that dress. Nkechi said to no one in particular. When her husband came back from the shop, she demanded for 70,000 to buy like the dress Nneka wore earlier that day. But her husband refused. She tried using her regular tricks, but this time, her tricks failed her, as her husband refused to give her any money due to the challenges and loss his business was facing. Nkechi tried all tricks, but none worked, and she went behind her husband to borrow money in his name to buy the dress. Weeks later, the woman she borrowed money from visited her home to collect her money, but Nkechi kept giving her different excuses, and the woman could not take it anymore as the money was long due. She went straight to the market to report to Nkechi's husband about the money Nkechi had borrowed from her, but when she got there, she was surprised to see Chukuma sitting in his shop, sad and worried. He was so lost in his thoughts that he didn't notice the woman's presence. She tried asking Chukuma what the problem was, but Chukuma was so down to say anything to her. And after some minutes, she then told him what brought her to his shop that morning. And then Chukuma hissed so loud, clapping his hands together, expressing his pain, and then told the woman to make sure she collects her money from the person she borrowed it to. When Chukuma got home, he was so angry at his wife Nkechi for what she did behind his back and told her to make sure she paid the woman back her money. Nkechi was so angry on hearing that. Are you not my husband? Did you marry me for me to suffer? When I married you, did I ask you to go and borrow money from anyone? Don't you have human sympathy, or you've sold it already? You are my husband, and you should pay the money. I should pay the money. Since I married you, have you ever for once come to the shop to help me out with the sales? No. All you know how to do is to sit at home and spend money unnecessarily. And so, I'm your wife and I have every right to spend your money because your money is equally my money. My money is also your money. Are you not ashamed to say it? Why don't you learn from your sister Nneka? She always helps her husband out with the sales, sometimes 3 times a week, to help her husband, and sometimes all through the week. They both run the business very well, and you are here saying rubbish. That one is their cup of tea, my dear. I'm not Nneka, and Nneka is not me, and she can never be me. Thank God she's not like you. Thank God she's not like you. Let me open a shop for you. You said no. Okay, join me, let's run the business together. You said no. Now you have the mind to borrow 70,000 to buy one dress, one ordinary dress, and you said I should pay. You lie. This time I'm not in for your nonsense. If you know how you borrowed the money from that woman, you better use the same way to pay her back. Nonsense. 1 week later, Nkechi was able to pay the woman her money back and refused to tell her husband where she got the money from. Chukuma was able to bounce back on his feet with the help of Nneka's husband Ikechukwu, and he was advised to make good use of the second chance given to him. When Nkechi finally knew that her husband was back on his feet, she started to demand for more money, but her husband refused in order not to let history repeat itself. This happened for many weeks, and Nkechi could no longer bear it, as she was so jealous of seeing her sister Nneka putting on different wrappers, shoes, and expensive dress. Nneka advised her to look for something doing to support her husband and herself as well. Instead of listening to her sister's advice, she distanced herself from her as usual. Nneka tried to make peace with her and also make her understand that a supportive wife is better than a nagging wife. But the more she tried, the more Nkechi distanced herself. Some weeks later, Nkechi bought an expensive dress worth 100,000, and when her husband asked to know how she got the money to buy the dress, she said it was from her savings. Few days later, she bought an expensive shoe worth 50,000, and when her husband asked to know where she got the money from, she told him that she borrowed it from her sister Nneka. At first, he was angry but later maintained his cool and said, "It is better to borrow from your sister than outsider," and he proceeded to the shop for the day's business. This continued for many months, and Chuka could no longer hold it back. Each time he asked, she would say Nneka gave it to her. One morning, Nkechi fell ill and was confirmed pregnant by the midwife. Chuka was very happy about the good news and did everything possible to make sure she never lacks anything. He showered her with lots of love and attention and made sure she never see reasons to complain about anything. 9 months later, Nkechi was yet to give birth, and that made everyone to be worried. They took her to the midwife, who gave her some mixed native concoction to drink, but the baby was yet to come out. The midwife then mixed some concoctions again and gave it to her to drink to ease the delivery, but Nkechi was unable to push and the baby was yet to come out. The midwife then told Nkechi's husband to send for the seer for solution. When the seer arrived, she placed her hand on Nkechi's tummy, and after some minutes, she then told Nkechi to confess what she did in order for her baby to come out. At first, she refused and denied ever doing any wrong thing. Then the seer smiled and said to her that if she didn't confess her evil deeds, she would die along with the baby. And then she began to confess. What happened was that when her husband refused to give her money and had stopped giving her money to buy expensive clothes, her friend linked her up with a man who gives her money after sex, which she used to buy the expensive clothes, and lied to her husband that it was Nneka that borrowed her the money. She later found out that she was pregnant for the man, and when she told him about the pregnancy, he denied it and threatened to kill her if tell anyone that he's responsible for it, and also got to know that the man was already married and was not from the village. He only visited the village to make out time with his girlfriends just to keep it a secret from his wife. The man gave her huge amounts of money to get rid of the pregnancy, but her greed for money and fear of abortion did not allow her to get rid of it, and decided to pin the pregnancy on her husband in order to keep her secret. Her husband was so devastated on hearing the whole truth. Nkechi later gave birth to the baby after her confession, but was sent out of the house by her husband as his tradition forbids such abomination. She was paraded round the village for 14 days as traditions demand, and was banished from the village along with her baby, and that was how Nkechi lived her remaining life as a single mother, full of shame and regrets.